Morning. This is the fifth Sunday in the month. I love when we have fifth Sundays in the month because to me it means we get to have a little bit more of an extended conversation about whatever our topic is. And we have been having a conversation about this whole idea of prosperity and the metaphysical teachings that go along with abundance teaching and all that. And I've received some feedback on my messages of the past several months, and some people have said to me, well, it's a little confusing. What is this center's position? What is the teaching? Can you have it all or can't you have it all? I mean, should I have a vision for my life or shouldn't I have a vision for my life? I mean, what is the definitive answer? So I have come up this morning with the definitive answer. The answer to can you have it all is yes and no. Because that's life. There really isn't a one-size-fits-all answer to creation. I mean, there's all kinds of things to consider. I mean, yes, you can have it all depending on what all is. And yes, you can have it all, but usually not when you want it. I mean, this is just life. This is just life. I mean, truly, at certain times in our life, we're looking around and we need to learn how to make order, That's how many of us come into this movement. Our life is in disorder, and so we come and we start learning how to create order. And in that moment, we learn things, methods that will help us move the furniture around in our lives, right? We bring things together. So we teach that here. How to pray, how to develop a mental picture of how you want to feel in your life, those sort of things. And we teach that. And then there comes a time in life, where a more mature conversation starts to emerge because we start to have a closer look as we're getting by with everything. And we see that, look, life is just life. I mean, you can have all of your ducks in a row. You can, be a good person. You can do all of your prayer and all of your, and stuff still happens. There it is. Life happens. And so then we start to look at that. We're hearing this idea that God is all there is. So now instead of me trying to take what's happening and make something else happen, instead I'm looking at what's happening from this perspective. It's just an idea. God is all there is. How is this that is happening God? See, now that requires a certain maturity of spirit to look at that. And then as we look at that, the shift happens where I start to move out of this position where I think I am driving my life into this other position where I see, oh my goodness, life is actually flowing through me just as it is and just as it is not. And so the mature question then comes to, well, what am I praying for? What's prayer all about? So I went to our textbook, to have a look, because right in the middle there's this chapter called The Principles of Successful Living, in which he gives us these instructions. And the amazing thing about this chapter is you read it and it gives you the tools that you require for wherever you are on the journey, which is why there's so many different colors of highlighting in here. Because then when my life is chaotic, then I read the parts that are going to show me how to bring that into order. And then when I'm looking beyond just organizing my life, I see, how come I never underlined that sentence? It's the most important sentence. Do you know what I mean? So that's what's going on. But so I towards the end of the chapter, and we could spend 16 weeks on this, he says treatment. Now, treatment is our form of prayer. Prayer. Now, here it is, okay? Because I didn't make this up. He made it up. Prayer is not for the purpose of making things happen. There you have it. It is to provide within ourselves an avenue through which they may happen. Now, the moment we think that we have to pray to compel something to happen, it's in that moment that we're using willpower, and now we're giving prayer a proposition that it cannot possibly meet. Prayer is not mental coercion. It is not willpower. It is not concentration. We shall never arrive at a correct method of prayer merely by learning how to concentrate. Because there's a lot of that going around. Just think of what you want. Concentrate on it. And then it will come to you. No. He says, not by merely learning how to concentrate for any length of time on a particular object. That is not what we are striving for at all. Of course, there is mental attention. That's necessary because if you're distracted, then you get what distracted can deliver. Okay? But neither fasting nor feasting, wailing or praising will cause us to arrive at the place of acceptance. And he's going to go on. This is really important. He says, prayer is not something one does to another person. It's not something we do to an environment. It's not something we do to a situation. It is always the thing we do to ourselves. Now, whatever method you use is a good one, he says. Treatment is an action in thought. And here it is. This is it, okay? I didn't underline this before. It opens up the avenues of thought, expands the consciousness, and lets reality through. You see, that's why I've been saying in the last couple of weeks, you and I, we do not create reality. We're not creating reality by anything we think, do, or say, except our personal reality. But reality exists, and then through our prayer practice, we are opening the avenues within us so that it may flow through. Because the only thing that we have to work with, and the only thing we've ever had to work with, is our projections and impressions of the world around us. We are not altering the nature of reality. In fact, at the conclusion of this chapter on the principles of successful living, he says at the very end of it all, he says, success and happiness are ours when we deal with the absolute, with absoluteness. And absolute is just another word for reality. That's when we are happy and successful. When we take what is and lean into it. So, we go back to the beginning of the chapter to see how he lays this out for us. And so that you may check up on me, chapter 16, page 266, The Principles of Successful Living by Ernest Holmes. Lesson